So, I'm live today with something that it's really been eating me alive. Looking back at my health issues that I've had to deal with over the course of the last 3 years, and other ailments, whether that's mental component or physical component. But I wanted to go live, not necessarily live, but record a show that might be able to help somebody else that's dealing with estrangement, especially with their adult children or child. My oldest, uh, not my two that that still live with me. Kat and Peyton, and we still have a great relationship, in my opinion. And it's my oldest child, and it was from my first marriage that lasted, like, I don't know, 9 months, whatever. And there are so many things that kind of go in your head as you're dealing with these types of things. But I look back, maybe about, I don't know, 9 years, 8 years ago. She cut ties with me, her brother, and her sister, her stepmom, who basically raised her, that sort of stuff. And it 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 hit us pretty poorly. But I'm doing this not only to help other people, but also to gain mental clarity in regards to these situations, right? I mean no malice, or you know what I mean. Uh, you know what I'm saying. I don't mean any malice towards any of it, because I'm at the point in my life, after 3 strokes, um, that I have to come to a realization that potentially, I'll never make amends with my oldest child. And that's been something that's been weighing kind of heavy. That doesn't, I pray and do all that sort of stuff on a daily basis, but I also, you know what I mean, I also have to look out for myself. So anyway, I'm gonna lower that mic here. I typed in ChatGPT. I know that a lot of people do that as well. Some of my students that probably shouldn't, but I just wanted to see the kind of the mental clarity game. I asked the question, why are so many young adults estranged with their parents, especially us Gen Xers, right? Or even those that are a bit older. Okay, the short answer, it says this. Short answer is that it's not one thing; it's a stack of pressures hitting all at once. Here are the big drivers we're seeing, especially with millennials and Gen Z, which, my oldest would be a millennial, and then I think my youngest two would be Gen Z. Number one, mental health awareness went up, tolerance went down. That's kind of what they're stating. So young adults are far more aware of emotional neglect, narcissistic or controlling parents, boundary violations, or trauma patterns. I'm here to tell you that I've been called a narcissist. Um, I don't think that I'm a narcissist, but that doesn't mean that boundary violations might have taken place. All I was trying to do was raise my children the best way that I knew possible, right? Um, and here's what it goes on to say: what older generations called that's just family, younger people call harm. Okay. When therapist language enters the chat, estrangement becomes a last resort boundary, not a rebellion. That's what ChatGPT is stating, right? Um, Again, uh, it's one of those things that I'll never give up hope, but there's lots of buts, when it comes to that, right? The second thing they say is values have shifted faster than families can adapt. Huge gaps around politics and culture, gender roles, religion, sexuality, race, and identity. Okay. When parents see disagreement when parents see disagreement as disrespect, conversations turn into power struggles. I would agree with that. Some young adults walk away rather than live in constant invalidation of who they are. And I think the craziest thing is that you know even parenting choices, right? She was my firstborn, right? So I was learning as I was going too, and that was one of those things, right? We see it as disrespect where they don't see it as that, and that power struggle can certainly rock through, right? Number three, authoritarian parenting doesn't age well. I have Yes, I would agree with that as well. Parenting styles that relied on fear, obedience, guilt, because I said so. Um, that's the way I was raised, right? That's the only way that I knew how to parent at that juncture of my life. We didn't have the interwebs and chat GPT, right? Oh man. So work with kids, but collapse with adults. If parents don't evolve from authority, relationship estrangement becomes likely. I guess the guilt and that sort of stuff uh, trickled into you know this aspect. So I can't disagree with number three. Number four, economic pressure exposes old wounds. Right, student debt, housing costs, stagnant wages. Many young adults they can't launch or they yeah see so it says can't launch the way the parents did, are judged for it, are compared to past economy that no longer exists. Shame plus dependency equals resentment, and resentment plus controls distance. Okay. um it's a two-way street though, right? If your kid needs something and they went to college and they were on their own and they didn't ask for help, parents aren't mind readers, correct? People might attack me for, going after something like this. So be it, man. I'm just trying to find clarity and garner, what I mean, some type of closure. Because I'll tell you, estrangement with your children that are still alive, plus your grandchildren, plus your son-in-law, all of those facets that hit you. It's like having, it's like reliving a death in the family on a daily basis, and that's kind of where I'm at on those components, right? I mean, people ask me all the time, hey, you seem to be doing okay, coping with the issue of estrangement. That's because I can mask up really well. Um, just being honest, right? I keep myself so doggone busy, right? That the only time, that my mind even breaks into that component, is late at night or, sometimes in the shower, whatever, right? The fifth thing it says is boundaries are now normalized. Previous generations stayed connected at all costs. This generation asks, at what cost to my mental health? I guess. And then it says no contact and low contact are now seen as self preservation, not betrayal. Um, I think it's probably a little bit of both. Um, I I don't even know. I don't even know how to to dig into that. And we'll talk last straw and stuff. This is going to be a several part series because I want my grandchildren to know that Grandpa Chuck and Grandma Stephanie did not choose this, which I think is important. That might have been narcissistic. It might not have been. I don't know. I think it's because I love kids so doggone much that I'm willing to do this. And also, I hope it helps others out there, right? 6, parents often refuse repair. Tell you what, I have apologized over and over. I've went the bowels of hell, trying to rack my brain around what I did as a person, how evil I could be that my kid would think even remotely in some of these mannerisms. So I I don't know what to say here, but we'll dig into it. Parents often refuse repair. Estrangement usually starts or doesn't start with one fight. It starts with repeated dismissal, refusal to apologize, minimizing pain. I did my best, used as a shutdown. When accountability never shows up, withdrawal does. Total, complete bullshit. Um, I was man enough to say, that I was sorry for whatever I did. I was man enough to go to the bowels of hell to figure out what in the hell was going on. Did I get answers? Not really. But again, I think it's easy. All right. So I disagree with that one. I'm not saying it happens all the time or whatever, but I do disagree. Anyway, 7, social media validated the experience. Young adults discovered it's not just my family. This pattern has a name. Once people realize they're not alone or crazy, they stop tolerating behavior they once normalized. It's kind of like politics, right? If you're a Republican, you can go to Fox News. If you're a Democrat, you can go to MSNBC News, whatever, right? Just like this. I just have a hard time. And again, I divorced at a relatively young age. I got married to the love of my life, Stephanie, who took in my oldest child, and we let her make decisions. It's not like, you know what I mean. But was I an overbearing father? Probably. I had an interest in everything she did, though. I don't know, man. It's that one's kind of whatever. So I kind of disagree with the social media BS. Okay, but that's my opinion. The uncomfortable truth. This is what it says. Estrangement is rarely about punishment. It's about grief. Most estranged kids would choose a repaired relationship, mutual respect, emotional safety, if it were possible. It's always possible. People change on a daily basis, hourly, minute. We're not the people that we were several years ago, right? So, in part two, I'll probably talk about parents' blind spots and stuff like that. But I just felt the need to share here. Um, at one point, I had no idea what was going on. Just totally cut out. Then I started engaging and obviously apologizing for whatever I did. You know what I mean? As a father, trying to raise my kids, doing the best that I could. And then it started to, kind of break. The levee started to break again. Okay. Um, I don't remember how many times, I went down and spent some time with my grandkids and my oldest child, and I thought things were headed in the right direction. She was in the military. Um, I don't know. I do not understand why it was shut off the second time. It was probably, see, February is when I had my first stroke, and we were in contact, and I think it was the week before Father's Day weekend, about 2 weeks before my youngest grandchild Ollie's birthday, June 1st, and she shut it down again. Um, I've tried over and over and over to contact. It's become less and less. but, I still say that, I can try. Have I made, the right call or had the right tone every time? No. I'll apologize for that, right? Let's see. Um, Here was a message that I got here, because, here's what I wrote, to my son-in-law because, I, this was October 1st, 2024. I know I've messed up. We all have messed up. Statements, emails, stuff like that when you're angry in the heat of the battle, right? But I'm willing to be here to improve and live. I blame myself for not knowing you guys or giving you the opportunity for me to do so. I am healing. Never realized how bad the situation was due to making it about me, operating past boundaries, having undiagnosed depression, being resentful and hateful when things didn't go my way, instead of letting you live your life and just be a part of it. That's, again, I didn't understand how to be a parent. Well, I did, but you know what I'm saying, right? I am not proud of the way things happened or proud of how I've treated you. And I I have never treated Donald in a negative manner. And I don't think that I've, treated my daughter in a negative manner, but I really hate that she sees me as a monster. And then I have here, my stroke and heart surgery has changed me. I just want you to know how much, how, know I love you so much and that this is not left the wayside. And I am very sorry for the hurt that I've caused. Again, I was apologizing over and over and over and over and over. And then I don't even know why I wrote I understood, but because I still don't. I understand why you cut ties. I've been trying to better myself and see things from your perspective. I miss you, Squirt, and will never stop loving you. This is for Chelsea. Maybe one day when you are ready, I can meet you again, family again. And then I wrote Dad. He wrote this. I wish I could help. Chelsea's told me some turbulent stories. I hope that's how she remembers them and not what actually transpired. Unfortunately, she's got a pretty good memory, and he's got an exclamation point there. She's in full protection mode, mom mode, with Orion, Owen, and Ollie. She's promised the world to them and will cut ties to make that happen. I have no friggin' clue what she's talking about. I trust you had the best intentions. Believe me, it's hard being fair and impartial. I've always supported her, never reached out because it wasn't my place. It would be nice to catch up. And then that was the last thing uh, that I wrote, with the exception of sending messages to my daughter, telling her I love her, things like that, miss her, whatever. Um, but I'm here to tell you, man, it's it's you know, no one talks about the hurt on the other side, right? And I'm sure that she's hurting and seeing things in different lights. But I'll tell you, I'm not a monster. Never was a monster. I was a part of her life the whole way through, man. Uh, and and I'll take that to my grave. That's in between God and I anyway, right? But I'll tell you this, there were a few times, man, I thought she was gonna come and the messages, there I think it was the last game that I coached in Centerville. It was we made the playoffs and said she was coming, didn't come, didn't message, uh, you know, um, and again, shutting me off after I had a stroke is, it is what it is. I have no ill feelings towards my kid, but I want to share that out there. We definitely live in a different age, and the age that we were parented or whatever is gone. Um, I hope this. Hits strikes a key. But I'm going to tell you right now, I still love him, and I and again I'm still kind of befuddled as to who that monster was that she saw. Um, because when she was around, she never mentioned those things. Um, anyway, hope everyone has a great day.